time for Johnny X, my friend. He's the guy who broke all the rules on planet Earth, especially all the filmmaking rules on planet Earth.
It's got to be the stupidest kid on the planet. He actually likes it there.
You're talking about me?
Can you believe that? He wants to stay.
Kevin McCarthy.
His last movie.
What a great laugh that man.
Well, let's get this Q&A going.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can you guys hear me okay?
I'm sure you have some questions for Director Paul Bunnell.
What was I thinking?
Amazing undertaking. Some questions from the audience?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm coming right over here for you.
First of all, great cameo.
One second.
Thank you, you saw my cameo.
Yeah, fantastic.
And before we start, I just want to let you know, if anybody is interested, you know, this was a real labor of love, and had to mortgage the house to get it going, and a very good friend of mine gave me the money to finish the film. So if any of you like the film and would like to support it, I've got the DVDs and soundtrack CDs out there. These are legitimate releases. This is not a homemade thing. And they're only $10 for the movie, or $10 for the CD, and I will give a free poster away until the supplies run out. I have about 25 posters out there, so with any purchase. Anyway, you'll be supporting the film. So I just wanted to say that right off the bat. Sorry for the plug, but...
So we have a question over here, other than great cameo, other than the comment.
Thank you.
What's your favorite sci-fi film besides this?
Gosh, you know, my favorite sci-fi film. Well, you know, I took a little inspiration, believe it or not, from The Bride of Frankenstein. That's not sci-fi, but
I would say it's technically sci-fi.
I love The Blob, of course. I love The Blob. But
you don't have to say that because you're here.
I do love The Blob. The first time I saw The Blob was on a black and white TV when I was a kid. I didn't know it was in color. And to have the movie played here, where The Blob played, is amazing. You know, it's surreal to me.
And he's not gray.
And it's quite it's something else. I love the movie called Bye Bye Birdie. Yes, my favorite sci-fi film, Bye Bye Birdie. Oh, there's I love Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Paul, were you influenced by Plan 9 from Outer Space? Because we have the sort of, aliens resurrecting the dead.
You know, to be real honest with you, I'm not, sci-fi is not my favorite genre. But I love all movies. I love mostly old movies. And Invaders from Mars would probably be the classic original Invaders from Mars.
A great one.
One of my favorites. So, anyhow.
Another question for Mr. Bunnell? One second. Let me bring the mic.
I'd like to say that one of the writer's sister is here. This is Joanne Wagner, and she came to see the movie. Joanne, did you like the movie?
I liked it more than I expected to, actually.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
From what my brother said.
And they're natives from this area, and your brother George Wagner, who worked with Roger Corman and was in Hollywood Boulevard and Rock and Roll High School. That's Joanne's brother.
I was just wondering whether Mickey O'Flynn is inspired by Mick Jagger.
No, Mickey O'Flynn was just a hodgepodge of all those guys, and there's a little personal story. I mean, your brother came up, actually, he was the writer that came up with the name Mickey O'Flynn, the man with the
He
grin.
also come up with Quilty. That's the name.
Your brother did come up with Cousin Quilty as well. Yes, we were going to call him Uncle Quilty, but we didn't want it to sound like Uncle Milty, But, yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Coming over here. I feel like Bill Donahue.
Are you still awake in the balcony?
How did you get Paul Williams?
I'll tell you what, I love Paul Williams. I'm such a huge fan. One of my favorite movies from the 70s is Phantom of the Paradise. I love that movie. I have my own personal film print of that movie. And it inspired me. And I met Paul at a screening of Phantom of the Paradise in Los Angeles, where I live, not too far. And I asked him if he was still acting, and he said yes. And I said, Mr. Williams, would you consider this. I gave him, he took me aside, told me his email address, so we got in touch. He saw my little production teaser, and he said, I like what you're doing, I'm on board. I wanted him to play Mickey O'Flynn, believe it or not. And he agreed to do it after we had a private meeting. And then he became president of ASCAP. And he got way, way too busy. And there was a couple of years until I got the rest of the money. And I called him, and he was so busy, and he said, oh, you know, I'm so sorry, I can't do it. I'm busy, I'm flying here, flying there. And I said, well, Paul, would you please at least play the talk show host? And at first it looked like he wasn't going to find time to do it. And then I upped the money, and I kept offering him more. Finally, no, he really wanted to do it, and he was wonderful as this
absolutely brilliant. I love that set, gorgeous talk show set. It's like
that was shot.
The best set ever.
Do you know that we shot this movie in Los Angeles in probably one of the oldest movie studios still around, built in 1913. Not as old as this theater, actually, but they used to film silent movies on the stage where we shot the cousin Quilty thing. So, is that amazing or what? Paul is great. I'm a big fan. I would have been absolutely crushed if Paul wasn't in the movie. And I was just, that for me was the directing highlight of the movie, to have Paul Nix in.
There was just a dedication there from your father. Obviously, Johnny X has some daddy issues in this movie. Is there some connection there between wanting to be connected with your dad? I mean, is there something slightly
not with me personally.
With that?
No, well, it's just weird because my grandfather's nickname was Mickey, and coincidentally, George named the character Mickey. And my dad never knew his dad, never met his dad. So that scene when Johnny's in the room talking with his father, saying stuff to him, I heard my dad say things like that, like, well, if I ever met my father, I don't know if I'd hug him or want to punch him in the face. And I remembered that, and I put it in the movie. But my dad died before I got the movie finished, and he would have been so thrilled to have seen it go into theaters. This movie's played at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. It's sold out there. It's played at the Egyptian Theater, built by Sid Grauman, who did the Chinese Theater. It's played all around the country in some really nice theaters. The Texas Theater, where Lee Harvey Oswald disappeared to, and they captured him there and played there. So this I can add to my resume. I've been at the Colonial Theater here, and I'm thrilled to be here.
We're glad to have you. Any more questions for Mr. Bunnell? Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me come over there.
Question in the back.
Giving Lobo his workout.
Yeah, he's working his.
You seem to have a religious overtone with parables and quotes from the script, from the Bible, and then you mentioned the resurrection suit. Can you kind of it was kind of interlaced. I was fascinated by it.
Well, thank you. I personally did not have any intention for religious overtones. One thing I try to avoid when I'm making movies is politics and religion. I am not making movies to put a personal message in them. I don't believe in doing that because I just want to entertain the audience. I don't want to put an agenda out there. I am not a political person. I have my own personal spiritual beliefs, but I don't put it in my movies. However, the resurrection suit is interesting because originally in the script, we only called it the resurrection suit in the description of the script. Nobody ever spoke the word, no characters ever said the resurrection suit. I got together with my friend George Clayton Johnson, who wrote Logan's Run, co-wrote Logan's Run. He wrote 9 episodes of the original Twilight Zone. And he looked at the thing and he zoomed in on that word, and he was trying to give me some good, pointers. And he said, resurrection suit. You should use that. And I said, George, that's good. And so we started calling it the resurrection suit in the movie. But we were more originally just describing it as a resurrection suit, so it's just one of those things. But no, I did not have any intent.
Who designed the suit?
My wife designed all the costumes in the movie. She did all the everything. She's a costume designer, and she works right now over at Sony Pictures in Culver City.
Wow.
But she did a very good job with this movie and was able to make the actors look really wonderful. And in black and white, it's a little tricky. Because the colors, the tones have to be a certain shade.
I have a total stranger here with a question.
So.
Can you talk about some of the challenges of making a film over such a long period of time and how you work on those?
Yeah, well, you know, Chuck, the main challenge of making this movie was wondering if I was ever going to get it finished. I went so kind of crazy over wondering, because let me tell you the story here. I made a movie, and then I've been making movies since I was 11 years old. And I'd always thought that I was going to be a studio director and go on to do these big movies and such. Well, you know, I got a few opportunities, but the big Hollywood people never came knocking on my door. So I kept making movie after movie after movie, and I wanted to make my movies better and better and better. And, you know, eventually I said, after that little monster, a few years went by, and I said, you know, I got to make another movie. My projects just aren't getting anywhere in Hollywood. So I decided not only am I going to make a movie, but I'm going to shoot it on 35 millimeter. And that was in 2002. So in 2002, I shot all the rocks at the beginning. Remember the time-lapse photography? I said, guys, we're going out to the desert. We're just going to shoot some B-roll here. And we did this beautiful Ansel Adams-like cinematography of the rocks. Okay, we're still working on the script. 2 years later, I got the script done, and my wife and I borrowed money against her house, and we started filming the movie. And that was in 2004, and we shot for 10 days. We shot the diner scenes inside, we shot Kevin McCarthy, and we shot the part of the drive-in scene until it started snowing. And we had to stop. So that's where I left it, on a low note. And it's like, we're out of money, we can't do any more in this movie. You gotta pay, you got like 50 people on the crew, you know, you gotta pay the actors. It's all union, SAG actors. And I was not paying myself. I will say one thing, I did not get 1 penny to make this movie. All I got was heartbreak after heartbreak. The production assistants were making more than I was, of course, I was making 0. But the real challenge was then when we stopped in 2004, I was wondering, okay, this is a cool little movie, we can get this finished. So I shopped it around everywhere in Hollywood, showed the production teaser we cut together, and everyone loved this thing. They said, oh, Paul, this looks wonderful, you know, call us when you finish the movie. Well, that didn't really help me because I couldn't get it, you know, done. So a year went by, and I'm wondering, are the actors, if we get the money, are they going to still be around? Are they going to be in the business? Are they going to get pregnant or change their hairstyle? 2 years go by, 3 years go by, 4 years go by, 5 years go by, and almost by the time I hit the 6th year, my friends were saying, Paul, you know, they were humoring me. I'd call them every year to say, you know, how are we doing? And, you know, I'm going to get this movie finished, you know. And then finally, after the 6th year, just about around the 6th year, I was like, look, I have to face reality. I'm never going to get this movie finished. A good friend of mine showed up like a guardian angel at the last minute, and just out of the blue, he was in business, and he sold his business, and he got a lot of money. It took over $1 million to make this movie. And he said, as a friend, he said, Paul, I'm not investing in your movie, but I want to help you. And I just couldn't believe it. And he gave me the money, and we got it going again in the year 2010. And nobody believed me. They said, yeah, Paul, right, you got the money now. Oh, yeah, sure. No, we got the money, and we did the thing in 2010, and it was unbelievable. It took about a year of post-production. There was a lot of animation that we had to do for the resurrection suit. And music scoring. I worked very, very closely with the scoring of the music. And, you know, that's how it was. It was more of wondering how to get the movie finished. That was the hardest part about making the movie. I didn't have a problem with directing the movie or anything. You know, that was easy. Long days, 16-hour days and such. But, you know, just wondering how I'm going to get the movie finished. I'll never do that again, I'll tell you.
Most movies are never finished. You know, I would say, if I were to guess, 90% of movies that are started are never completed. And 90% of those that are completed don't get distributed.
And you know what the weird thing is? Of course, I started the movie in 2004. The film stock was black and white plus X and very easy to come by. 6 years later, a friend of mine called me up after he heard I got the money to finish, and he said, hey, congratulations on getting the money to finish your movie, but how are you going to do that now that they discontinued that film stock? And I'm like, what? So I called Kodak, sure enough, they were done with that stock, but they were able to pull some film out of the warehouses, just enough for me to finish it. So you are looking at a movie that the Library of Congress has in print in their archive. This is the last movie filmed on this Plus X film stock, which is a fine-grained black and white 35mm film. And this particular print, which we're lucky to see because it's my print, rarely do we show the film print. It's usually on a digital DCP or something. But this print was struck, made right off the original camera negative. So you're only watching it one generation away, with the exception of the animation parts. Those were scanned in digitally. But that's why it looks so sharp and so beautiful, and the American cinematographer did a beautiful write-up for us. It's quite nice.
It's gorgeous to look at. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Wonderful cinematography, great music.
Wonderful cinematography, great music. Does that work? I think that microphone's dying.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's okay.
Any other questions?
Any more questions? We got one over here. Now, this is going to be extra fun. It's a passing the baton.
What's next?
What's next?
Good question. Hold on.
What is next? Yes, I'm working on a movie called Rocket Girl. I thought, what should I do? I wanted to do an adaptation of a Victor Hugo novel called The Man Who Laughs. They keep making that movie and they keep failing, but I wanted to put my own spin on it. But, you know, I want to do something in the Gothic zone range. But I thought, let's do another original movie, and I'm doing one called Rocket Girl, and it's about a young girl's adventure in Hollywood land in the futuristic year of 1965. It's sort of a space age thing. It's a lot of fun, and I learned a lot of lessons from Johnny X. The new movie's going to be tighter, better, you know, more fun, and a little bit more reined in, not so all over the map like this one. This is fun. It's got a lot of characters, and I'm excited and almost ready to make that movie.
I think though. Sorry. Is this happening again?
Let's switch on.
I think though, you know, if you made this for a big studio, you wouldn't have been able to go all over the map. You wouldn't have been able to explore. You wouldn't have been able to kind of push these boundaries and go these places.
Yeah.
And you know, when is this one dead too? Too much, Mr. Lowe.
I think they're trying to tell us something.
But if it's, you know, but when you know, so you have to enjoy the fact that you get to do it your own way and make your own mistakes, and not someone telling you to do something that that is someone else's.
If you don't like this movie, I'm 100% to blame. My fingerprint is all over this thing. If you love the movie, then you're welcome. I only made it to try to, you know, entertain people. So, you know, it's different, and I knew that.
And people were very entertained, and it's unique, you know, and original.
How about one last question, and then we gotta wrap up. Yes.
On your next project, is it going to be a musical?
My next movie, will it be a musical? No. I will not be making a musical. I am not particularly a big fan of musicals, believe it or not. Oh, and this movie did not start out as a musical. That just kind of happened by accident. I kid you not. The script was written as a straight script, and I thought, let's put a musical number in there and just surprise the audiences. The musical number to end all musical numbers. So we put that diner number in there. That's why it's so long. I thought, that's it, that's all. Then the concert. And then, you know, we were going through the script, and I didn't like things in the script, so I started taking out scenes and substituting it with a song. And we had so much fun making the musical numbers that that's what we ended up doing. So,
was it able to cut better in song, to be able to cut?
Yeah, we were able to do the cutting and the editing, and the songs were the easiest part for me in the movie to direct. I had a choreographer with me. She directed the choreography. I did the camera. We worked very well as a team together. So. But I want to thank you all so much for coming out on a Sunday.
Thank you. With or without microphones, we have a ghastly love for you, Paul, and a ghastly love for your movie. Big hand one more time for Paul Bunnell, American filmmaker. Thank you very much for coming out on a Sunday here at the very slimy end of Blobfest. We're going to do our slow-mo run-out now. The slow-mo out. Oh, what's it called? The stroll out. Slow-motion stroll out.
Nice and easy.
Run for your lives, everyone.
Diners on fire.
The diners on fire.
Stroll for your lives. This is the slow-mo run out. We're going out the front doors. Women and children first.
It's just three of us, really? Everybody else is buying stuff.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, they can still hear